How does it feel to be back, but not as part of Westlife, but as a solo artist?
You know what? It's actually very, it's new, it's fresh for me. Obviously, every day is different. You know, every day is new, and you're on your own, so you get used to that fact pretty quickly. But so far, I'm loving all. I'm traveling around the world. I'm getting to sing. I'm launching my first album. It's a really kind of special week for me. So it's it's pretty cool. There's a lot of good things to it. It's different to being with the lads. Obviously, I'm not going to lie and say it is, but it's great so far.
And the thing is, we're playing your song on Kiss 92. We've been getting lots of fantastic feedback. A lot of them are loving your new song. And the thing is, we had this exclusive showcase with you last night at Zouk, and all of them were really happy to be a part of it. But how about you? How did you feel last night performing at Zouk?
Do you know what? It was a great venue for starters. It was an amazing venue. But yeah, it was brilliant. It was my first showcase in Singapore, and there was like 800 people at it. It was pretty big. It was the biggest showcase I've done. And it was, it's nice to have the atmosphere, and you're up on stage on your own, and you're getting used to stuff. And it was, all I could feel was just a lot of happy faces in the audience, and everyone singing my songs too, which was pretty cool. They all knew the words to all the songs, so that's a good sign.
And can we expect like a full-blown concert anytime soon?
Maybe not soon, but I definitely want to do a concert, obviously, of course, in Singapore. But I want to wait until I can do a proper concert. I can bring down my band and stuff, and I'm going to do a tour in the UK and Ireland next February and March. So I think I'm going to come here after that again for promotion, and then maybe later in the year, like maybe late summertime, after the album's out a good while and everybody knows the songs, and then come and do a proper you and me tour.
All right,
Sure.
so I'm sure a lot of them will be looking forward to a concert next year, perhaps.
Yeah, nobody more than me. Believe me.
I've got two questions. The only thing that's maybe surprising about your story is why you didn't do it sooner, broach this solo artist career. And the other question is, do you take any lessons from people like Gary Barlow, Robbie Williams? Why does it work for some people? Like it didn't work for Gary Barlow at the start as a solo career, but it worked for Robbie Williams. What lessons do you learn from those experiences?
Yeah, I think I think it's when it comes down to being a solo artist. I think inevitably it comes down to music, and it comes down to having that hit. I think even Robbie, when he started, it took a few songs. Obviously, Angels was the big one, and that's the song that kicked off his career. But I think it's down to time, and it's down to good music. It's down to working really hard. I'm sure Gary worked very hard at the start as well, but for whatever reason it wasn't meant to be for him at that time. It's working very well for him now. He's doing very well. Obviously, he's having a great solo career. His first album's about to come out. I'm a big fan of both of them guys. But yeah, I think for any solo artist it comes down to songs. And I think if I don't have good enough songs, I'm not going to make it. So for me, I think I have good enough songs. But I think it's also down to a bit of luck, a bit of hard work. You got to travel an awful lot. I know already. I was chatting to the president of Universal here, Sandy, and he was saying, we got to keep getting you back. The more you come back, the better it will be, because we can have you in the marketplace. You're going to be releasing singles, and people see your face, and I think it's important. So I was there. Look, I come back as much as possible, and as much as needs be. So I'm going to travel an awful lot the next kind of year and a half, because this album it took like 6-8 months to make, and I don't want to try and rush another album next year. I want to try and make this album last. I think it's strong enough to do that, and the label think it's strong enough to release a lot of singles, and hopefully at the end of it we'll be somewhere doing concerts and getting excited for a second album maybe. The first question, I think it's not even an option. I think I could have lots of times. I've done it, and I've been asked that question a lot, but for me it was always, I loved being in Westlife. I loved being in Westlife. Westlife was an amazing band, and people say to me, why don't you do a solo album? I'm like, because I'm in Westlife. Why would I want to do a solo album? You're in one of the biggest bands in the world, and we got to do 12 albums in 14 years, and we enjoyed every bit of it. We were really, really good friends, and we still are good friends, and I think it's kind of probably the main reason we stayed together for so long. But when the band decided to split, then I had to make a decision then about my future and what I wanted to do, and for me, singing is the only thing I want to do.
Not only you go solo, but you are more of a solo singer. So can you share with us the songs that you have written for this album? And just curious that, because we believe that you have gone through some challenges, but why do you choose to present the more optimistic side of yourself?
I think, when it came to, writing songs was a very new thing for me. I didn't know if I could even do it at the start of the album. I was asked to do it by my record label, and I was up for the challenge, but I was very nervous about it, because I didn't know if I delivered. But also, in a way, there was no pressure on me because I hadn't wrote them before. So I thought, if I write some good songs here, it's a bonus. But for me, yeah, I did go through some challenges and stuff in the last few years, but I think that experience has helped me kind of focus on the positive things in my life, and that's why all the songs are very positive. A lot of the songs are about my wife, or memories about our relationship, or my kids. Just being happy, being healthy. That's kind of the whole attitude of the album. And when you're in a kind of I suppose a more challenging time or a difficult time, I had to write about happy times because that brought me to my happy place. So the album actually was, a form of therapy probably, to bring me to a happier time. And then you kind of realize, I think when you go through bad stuff in your life, whatever it may be, everybody has challenges, but I think you always try and focus on the positives to make you happy again. And for me, singing was one of them. And then songwriting was something that just became an absolute bonus that I never knew I had in me. And I got to write really honest songs and really, true stories. And I found it quite easy to write about my wife. I literally every day I went in and goes, right, I'm going to write this song, or I'm going to tell you this story. And, I was in there with great musicians, and we put together a really good, positive, upbeat, feel-good album. And that's what I want to do. That's what, when I'm on stage, I want to lift people's hearts. I want people to feel happy, not, oh my God, that's a really sad song. I want people to say that's a beautiful song, and it's a love song. Because a lot of the songs are love songs, and it's just, some of them are quite fast, but they're still love songs. They're like love letters, basically, with music, a lot of them. I think every kind of major solo artist inspires you out there, because it shows you that, with good songs and a lot of hard work, if it's meant to be for you, it's possible. Anything is possible. And I think, Westlife is definitely something that proved that. We started off and we were kids, we didn't know where we were going or what we were doing, and we knew we had a few good songs. We thought we didn't really know how good. And we worked really hard, and it became incredibly massive, but for me, I've had that in my life. I've had an amazing career already to a certain degree. So now it's just about having a career in music. It doesn't have to be the biggest in the world, but I think inspiration it's something that you look for as much as possible. It's your own road that you have to create. So I have to create my own success, and it's down to obviously songs and working hard and stuff like that. But yeah, like there's growing up for me, I loved Garth Brooks. He was one of my favorite singers. I love Michael Jackson, obviously. And probably Shania Twain, Bryan Adams, people like that. I just love their voices. I love what they did with music. I love the way Shania Twain brought country mainstream and brought it into. She was kind of the first girl to do it before Taylor Swift and stuff like that. So, for me, country music is something I love. I loved Garth Brooks growing up. I just loved everything about his music. So there's definitely an influence in there in my music in some way. I'm Irish, so I think folk music is definitely in me, no matter what way I do, no matter what I do. So yeah, there's a lot of things in there in the mix. My family understand that my career is starting off, and it's going to be very busy. My kids are quite young, so my daughter Nicole understands. She's 8, so but the boys 3 and 5, so they're kind of just that little bit young to understand where I'm going and stuff like that. And I'm off to Singapore, and they're like, where's that? And and they don't understand, but they know that it's far away, and it's probably going to be a week away. But as long as they get sweets when I come back, as long as I bring back some new type of sweet, or a little toy or something like that, or like a new jumper or something, it's anything at all. Kids they're young, so but they understand that I am traveling, and when I was leaving the other day, like my little boy was crying and stuff, and so that's difficult. It's not easy to do that, but I think they understand that I have to work hard and I have to travel, and I try to explain it to them when I'm putting them to bed at night and stuff. I say, look, Daddy's got to go on a plane tomorrow, and I'm going to be gone for I always tell them it's less. So if it's 10 days ago, it's only 6 sleeps, so I tell them it's going to be a bit shorter. But yeah, it's just part of my life, and I have to juggle it as best I can. My wife she's amazing. She holds the fort, back in London, and she brings the kids to school and does all that kind of stuff. She tells me, you go and sing, and I look after the rest. So that's the kind of understanding we have, which is great. It is a different time, and I think obviously social media now is a huge thing. But I think, if Westlife had come out now, musically, I think we would have done very well. I don't know how well we would have done, but I'm sure we would have been up there with all of them. I think social media, we would have had a huge social media following. I think if we were on Twitter and stuff now, or 15 years ago if we had Twitter. But the music today, I think, is brilliant. It's great for pop music. I think Wanted and especially One Direction are doing incredibly well all over the world, like ridiculous, like how well they're doing, like stadiums and everything now. It shows you good songs and hard work, right place, right time. You know, that they have it all. They work very, very hard. And I think that's very important, you know, to keep the momentum going while it's hot. They keep striking while the iron's hot. You know, 3 albums in 3 years. Similar to what Westlife done, you know, we did an album every year. We did like 9 albums in 9 years, you know, so it's amazing. And it keeps pop music alive as well, not just for boy bands, I think for everybody. It shows the kind of, you know, pop music is very much alive, probably more than it's ever been. And it shows there's, no matter what year it is or what decade it is, there's always room for a boy band. Because there's always girls to scream.
What is the one thing about touring you can never get used to?
Jet lag. I think definitely. My tour manager's nodding his head behind you there. Yeah, like literally, I just got up out of bed like an hour ago. I had to go back to bed for 2 hours. I was so tired. Last night I woke up at like 4 o'clock and I was awake till 7, but I had to get up at 8 then to go to work. So I came back and I was just so tired, and I went into like literally the deepest sleep for 2 hours. So it's something that you have to get used to. And you know, I haven't travelled like since the kind of last Westlife tour, which would have been 2 years ago. I haven't done that much travelling. So getting used to that is definitely the time clock. Sometimes I'm not great, but yeah, it's probably the only downside to touring though. You know, touring, especially on your own now, it's amazing because, you know, when you go away on your own, it's basically you get the best room in the hotel. You don't have to fight over it, and you get to pick the best clothes off the rail and stuff and all that. So it's nice. It's nice touring on your own. A bit quieter, but it's nice. A flavour of my songwriting, as in what are the songs. So. To describe it, I think it's very honest. I think my songwriting is very honest. I think it's very... I found it very difficult to write fictional stories. You know, to say, you know, like if I went into a songwriting session with a girl or a guy or whatever, and they go, let's write a song about this guy and girl that break up and he wants her back, and I'm like, doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And I found it very difficult to write songs like that. So if it was about, you know, something that was true in my life or something that I could talk about it in an honest way, it lyrically it just flew out of me. I didn't have to think about it. It was just like, you know. So I think it's very honest. I think it's very positive lyrics. I like to write positive songs. I don't like to write negative songs. Yeah, that's more or less it. You know, they're love songs. A lot of them are love songs. They're all they're songs that make me happy, and I hope songs that make other people happy, because that's the one thing I learned. You know, especially when I went to Nashville. You know, a lot of the people I was working with said, you got to keep your songs, even though they might be about just your wife. You got to keep your songs universal, that other people can relate to them as if it was their wife or whatever, you know, or their boyfriend or whatever it may be. So I think a lot of the songs are, you know, they're true, but they can also mean something to like you guys as well, which is very important. That's the kind of the essence of a good song, I think, is people can go, oh, that I remember that when that happened to me, or I had that first time love feeling and stuff like that.
Did that answer your question, or were you going for
was there anything else? I think I answered it.
I think she was, you know, hoping you would say, perhaps the smell of lavender would probably describe my songwriting, because it relaxes me, or it relaxes my fans and stuff like that.
Right, okay. So, no, I wouldn't be relaxed, because lavender puts
rose,
me to sleep.
because it's romantic, or, you know.
Yeah, I think rose. Yeah. Yeah, definitely not lavender, because that's like... See, maybe a couple of the ballads might put you to sleep, but no, hopefully not lavender. I do love lavender. It's probably my favorite smell. Just think it's positive, you know, it's positivity, and to kind of be happy in life, you know, like especially the song Once on the album. I think that kind of describes an awful lot about how I was feeling at the time. I think, you know, everybody in life worries about stuff, whether it's your kids, whether it's, you know, money, whether it's somebody that's sick in your family, whatever it may be. Everybody's got a problem, and that's never going to change in life, no matter who you are. So I think the best thing to try and do is either talk about it with somebody, or, you know, open up and not be afraid, and kind of say, all right, that's my life and that's the way it is, and I'm going to make the most of it, because you only live once, you know, and everybody gets that one chance to have a life. And, you know, I think while we're here, we need to enjoy it. And I think it's another message in it. It's just, it's great to be in love, you know, it's great to have that feeling of love. And I think that's the backbone through the whole album.
I would like to ask, like, what are the main differences in producing an album, you know, in a band versus as a solo artist?
I think it's completely different. I think, you know, because for me, this album, it took a lot longer, for starters. I got to, you know, take my time, because I had to write the songs, and I had to, you know, it was more like when the album is ready, it's ready, not we have to have it ready by the 16th of August, no matter what. You know, that was a lot of the time we had a deadline, you know, for Westlife. And because the songs were, you know, written for us, most of them are cover versions, it was quite easy to record. You just have to sing them. But when you have to actually come up with a sound and you have to write the songs and wait until they're good enough, it's a pretty amazing process to be able to get to the opportunity to do. And I got to spend 6-7 months making an album. So it's a lot longer of a process. It's a lot more, you have a lot more control on where you want to go, because I had complete freedom to find the Shane Filan sound, you know, because it can't be just Westlife. It has to be, I want my Westlife fans to enjoy it, so it's not going to absolutely alienate them either. It's still pop music, but I think it's more country folk pop music. And I think that's the main difference, and I think it's probably more upbeat too than a Westlife album. But you know, like Westlife have had amazing success. We had an amazing 14 years, but I still wanted to come out and make, I didn't want people to go, oh, it's like a solo Westlife album. That's the one thing I didn't want. I wanted people to go, it's different and I like it. You know, not too different, but it's different and I like it. And he's trying to create something new here himself. Because this, you know, this is hopefully a career in music that I'm trying to start here. And it's, you know, this is my first week of my album, my first trip to Singapore, hopefully first of many. And I gotta look at the long-term goal here, and hopefully in 2 or 3 years people will know my name and know lots of my songs, and you know, go, I like that song or that song, and have lots of different hits hopefully. But it takes time. It takes time, and I think I've made an album that I think I can achieve that with, but it's not really up to me, it's up to the public to decide that. I think you have to have date night. Very important in a relationship. You know, I think myself and Gillian have had an amazing relationship. We've had a very, you know, very honest, very trustworthy relationship. I think that's the most important thing. We talk about everything, we tell each other everything. Like I cannot keep a secret from her, like no matter what it is, even if it's a present I bought her, I'm like, I have to tell you, you know, it's like, I don't know what it is, it's weird, but we've had a great relationship. We've been with each other for 16 years. We're married 10 years this December. I don't know what the secret formula is, you know, I love her unconditionally. I love her 1000%. It's hard to explain. But it's, you know, she's the mother of my children. You know, I don't know what, she's an incredible woman. She's like the perfect woman for me. And I love her, and I suppose we've had that kind of love and respect for each other. I respect her an awful lot as well, you know, and I think that's very important in a relationship. But to keep it alive, I think you got to make an effort, you know, you got to make things special, even if it's, you know, getting her a bunch of flowers for no reason at the supermarket, you know, and stuff like that, because she goes, oh, you know, she loves that, like little things that are maybe insignificant to most people, but it might mean a massive thing to her. Or we love going to the cinema. We like going to the cinema a lot, so we try and do that maybe every week or every 2 weeks, when we go and just pretend we're kids again and have ice cream and do all that kind of stuff. I think that does make a difference. Maybe just for us, I don't know. But yeah.
You know what? It's pretty quiet in here, but I'm sure everyone inside is going, oh.
I know, I probably sound really corny, you know, and I wrote all the songs about her too, you know, I'm such a good guy. But it's funny because, you know, I kind of slag her now, like when we're talking, I said, I knew you'd come in handy eventually, you know. I say this to her and she doesn't like it at all when I say it, but yeah, you know what, I just found it, you know, to write songs, I can write songs about her because, you know, they're true, and I think, you know, people like when you're honest, you know, and I think that's what my music is, and hopefully people enjoy it. That's all I can say.